What's up, family? We got a special guest in here tonight. Well, he ain't made it yet. We gotta get him in here.
First is read his bio.
Hmm?
His bio.
That's what you read?
Mm-hmm. Not the whole thing.
That's what it is.
All right, family. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. I know it's just long because it looks like it's long, right? So we're having a special guest tonight. Oh boy, here we go again over yawning, y'all. I'm sorry. Our brother Ptah Seek Asar. He's joined us tonight. Okay. Before we bring him on, let me see. Before we bring him on, we're going to read a little bit of his bio, okay? Our elder brother was born in 1956 in Roxbury, Boston, Massachusetts, okay? To a maternal mother, Margaret Hawkins Wallace Williams, paternal father, Herbert Williams. And I guess the Nagaship introduction, born, bred, and raised in the primordial temple discipline. He says the Nagaship introduction, born, breeded, and raised in the primordial temple discipline. Okay? Peace, KD. Peace, Lucy. Everybody, how y'all doing? He began his training in martial arts at the Ptah House of Ra, Outer Temple. Okay? Tachar Per Ra, Holy House of Ra, Innermost Temple, Cultural, Spirituality, Consciousness in Boston, Massachusetts. Okay? The Nagaship Scholarship 1966, also in that same year, he was admitted to attend and begin early education and initiation training at Tachar Per Ra, Holy House of Ra in Boston, Massachusetts, okay? Where he achieved his rank of Seshar Netcher, Royal Scribe, Master Craftsman, and Keeper of Time of Tachar Per Ra, Holy House of Ra. Now, peace and blessings, family. We got a special guest coming in tonight. Our elder, I see him, Ptah Seek Asar. Okay, so we're gonna bring him in, and we're gonna let him do a Hesi, and then we're gonna talk about the Cyrus rising. We're gonna talk about the Rosarian calendar. Okay, and we're gonna talk about how it all ties into what we're doing with the Sirius D. So we're gonna bring him in now. Let me see if I can get him in here.
There you go, right there.
We're bringing our special guest in, and before we even talk, family, we're gonna let him do what they call a Hesi, and we're gonna let him explain what a Hesi is, okay? And what he's gonna explain to y'all what a Hesi is, because some of you are new to the Kemetic way of life, or I like to call it the ancient Egyptians, the ancient ancestors. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let him bring the do the Hesi before we even get this started. To expect, okay? There we go. There we go. Brother Ptah. Can you hear us?
Yes, dua Queen Mother Goddess. Panata Prapamat. I'm honored to be on your platform, Queen Mother Goddess.
Thank you. Hotep. Can you say
And
it
you,
again?
Siba.
Asiba
Hotep.
Hotep. Okay.
Yes, Panata. Panata Apupamaat means how sweet is the Ma'at truth of the Puat Natarus. Then you would say Onk Uwas Dejet, meaning life, power, stability, and Onk Uja Seneb, life, prosperity, health. And then you would say Ubin Nepi Ikea Pandebueru Ma'at, which means rising always in divine excellence with Ma'at every day, all day. Them are pleasantries of initiation which one must pronounce in order to begin to have the right to speak before the elders, the council, the ancient ones, and the Ramets. The Ramets means the family or the people.
Right, Ramets. Okay. All right. So what we want to do is we want to let you do the Hesi. That wasn't the Hesi?
No, that wasn't the Hesi. That
Right.
was just the greetings. Yes.
Right. So we want to do the Hesi. And could you just
yes,
explain
absolutely.
to people that's new
What a Hesi is?
what a Hesi
Yes,
is?
yes. A Hesi is or Saku is a Medunetta name for an affirmation or a prayer in order for for you to have permission to speak to the elders, before the ancient ones, before the ancestors, before the neterus, which are called the gods and goddesses, or the elements. And so in order to perform your Hesi in Medu Neter, it's called Usa Medu Nefer. Usa means power, Medu means words, and Nefer means divine. So these are divine words of power. And to say it in one glyph, which is the symbol of this Heka with the twisted flax in the middle, it means magic or nur, energy, spiritual energy, first frequency energy. And so in traditional Kemetic, I am not from any Kemetic society. I'm not associated with any Kemetic society. I'm from Tesher Pera, the Holy House of Ra, where I was initiated in 1960. I was born in 1956 inside of the Temple of Boston. And the Kemetic society, they perform libations and they call upon the ancestors for permission to speak. But I know that when one asks the ancestors for permission to speak, I never hear an ancestor reply to you. So this is a new age order. This is not the great age of Pisces, which we left in the age of 2000 back to 2000, 1995, and so on and so forth. We have entered into a new age order of the great golden age of Mada Pi Asar. We have transferred into a new great golden age. And so it is no longer Ma'atian for us to just say things that we cannot prove or relate to. We can no longer know. We can no longer believe. We must know. In order to do this, we have to relate to this star Cyrus or Subtit, in which the conversation, the topic of discussion is today. Cyrus A and Cyrus B, and also your product, Cyrus D. Okay? And so we have to identify to these cosmic forces that allow us love, guidance, and protection through the daily experiences of ponderable matter, okay? And in order to do that, you have to know where the star is at all times. So this is how we're going to perform this Hesi, so that everybody can, and I can attune everybody who is in tune with this first frequency, so that they can feel these vibrations. You should be able to feel a tug behind the back of your two ears. That's your pineal gland starting to ignite. And if you feel a tingle going down your back, that's your chakras. They're starting to ignite, okay? But let me just begin this Hesi, and I'm gonna perform this Hesi so that I may have permission to speak by pronouncing the Usa Medu Nefer Heka'u, so that I may call upon the cosmic forces that allow us love, guidance, protection through the daily experiences of ponderable matter. I shall perform my Hesi, my Saku, and my affirmation. And I shall begin by saying, Hetepu, Hetepu, Dua, Duau, Nezarak, Ramech, E.M. Hotep. Greetings and divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families. My Nagas, my Shemsurus, my Nesubitis, my Sibas, my Sibats, my Mutnatats, the immortal ones of Ma'at, cherished, phenomenon of precession, new age order, great golden age of Ma'at Hapi Asar, and all citizens, descendants of the Nile Valley Cultural Cosmic Collective Consciousness Spirituality. Nezarak O Ast Mut Puat Nataru Panebu, the mother of the Neterus, the mistress of Pet, the maker of mankind, she who is mighty in Usa Medu Nefer Heka'u, divine words of power, mother of all initiations. Bless us humble servants for Ankh, life now present, for we seek the counsel of the ancient ones and practice daily the ancient Ma'atian ways and ancient Ma'atian truths. We strive evermore to become one with thee in this world and in the existence to come. We ask that you bless us on this, the 338th day of the year after the helical rising. 22 days remaining until Ubin Subtit Cyrus rising. Wet Upawat Samatawi, Wet Ren Pet Dejet Heb, New Year's celebration. The 14th day of the 10th month of Ptah, the 2nd day of Mesta, the 8th day of the 4th month of the 3rd season of Pert, year number 8. AFNK/ST, after the founding of New Kemet, Naga Kemet, Samatawi, Phenomenon of precession, New Age order, great golden age, Amada Asar. We ask that you bless our families and friends and all those of us who gather together to worship in your most holy, sacred, and glorious ancient Tamarian name of Asar Patnataru Panebu, for in the act of seeking you there is much comfort. So as it is spoken, so let it be written, so let it be said, so let it be done, for now and forever forward. Ra Nebateshara, Panata Pupamaat, Unkwas Dejet, Uncle Jasadeb, Ubenefikir Panebu Heru Ma'ati, rising always in divine excellence with Ma'at, every day, all day. Dua. I thank you for allowing me permission to speak and to grant permission from the ancestors, the elders, and the ancient ones, and the Netarus, by commanding the Usa Medu Nefer, Hekau, divine words of power. And I hope that my words are Machiru, they are divine utterance, and they are truth and righteously great. I say to you, Queen Mother Goddess and Siba, Dua, Dua'u. And that is an introductory to a Hesi, and which will bring the frequency into our atmosphere so that we may talk about our divine birthright, which is immortality. And this immortality begins by understanding the star Cyrus, which in Medunetta is called something. Okay? And it's through this understanding that it took me 50 years to reconstruct the original calendar of our ancestors. So the calendar that you have on your wall today is the reason why we are still mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery. They've been working on us for 4,000 years. Our story spans tens of millions of years. We only lost control of this planet 4,000 years ago. We was placed into injured humanity. It was through a decree in equity. And through this decree of equity, they forced upon us a calendar of 30 days in every month. It's a lunar cycle calendar. So the Kemetic calendar that you see today has 30 days in a month, which there was 30 days in a month, but it was a agricultural or a civil calendar, which was only meant to feed you. It can regulate the inundation of the Nile. It can, the woman's menstrual cycle, the high and low tides, and so on and so forth. But you cannot reach immortality with a lunar cycle calendar. That's why they forced it upon us. That's why the calendar on your wall is called the Gregorian calendar. It is a plagiarized version of our African calendar, which is solar, sidereal, and lunar. It's 3 in 1. The calendar they gave us is a lunar cycle calendar. So under a lunar cycle calendar, their calendar is a perpetual calendar, and it was given to us by Ptolemy I, Soter, Serapi, September, Rameri, Amen, for those scholars in the audience who want to do their due diligence and have a wireless device, and they can do some Google search at the same time I'm speaking.
Your phone is breaking up a lot, so we're missing bits and pieces of your words.
Okay, how am I doing now? Maybe I should speak a little slower. I was going to tell you, because sometimes I move at light speed. So, yes, if I stop moving at light speed, slow me down.
Can you sit your phone? Can you sit your phone up? Because it's the internet. Yeah.
Can I?
And so is it like, can you sit it on something? Maybe it's not getting the signal.
Can I set it on something? I'm trying to put it up there the best way I can where I'm located at, Queen Mother Goddess. And let me see if we can do it this way here. How am I sounding now? Is the audio much better?
It's better.
Okay.
Okay.
How's that? Am I okay? Is it clarity now? We have a little clarity?
Still doing it a little bit.
Still doing it a little bit. No, okay. Well, excuse me.
I say it seems like you're almost talking too fast because it's chopping up a little bit.
Yes, I hear you very clear though. You're coming in very clear on my side. Okay, I hope I'm coming in very clear on your side. Okay,
yeah.
First let us identify why we are in the predicament that we are in today. It's because they stole our time from us. They gave us a lunar cycle calendar. And basically, with the lunar cycle calendar, it's a perpetual calendar, which means it's progressive. Our calendar is perennial. All we know is Latin and Greek, because that's all we know, because the Greeks stole our language, and then introduced us into the scholarship world of Plato, Aristotle, and so on and so forth, the Greeks and the Romans. But if January the 1st is on a Monday, next year is on a Tuesday, and the next year is on a Wednesday, the next year is on a Thursday, and then the next year, because there's a leap year, it jumps to a Saturday. So this means that after 7 years, the star that was in the sky at your birth is no longer there on your birthday. So at your birth, they disconnected you from this cosmic environment, which is the phenomenon of precession, or the 26,000-year cycle it takes our sun to move through each and every sign of the zodiac. So you cannot moderate yourself through immortality with a lunar cycle calendar. And that's why they gave us this calendar. Any calendar that has 30 days in a month is a lunar cycle calendar, because we know that the lunar cycle moves 29 and a half days from waxing to waning, okay? It's a mathematical equation. So what I'm doing, because no Kemetic priest, no Kemetic society wants to associate themselves with me, because I say before the Romans and the Greeks, there were 9 days in every week, and time was kept by charting stars that were visible on our calendar, aware of the movement of the earth, stars, and moon. These ancient African and
family, hold on. Let's see if we can bring the elder back in, y'all. There he goes. All right, family, we're bringing the elder back on. He just got cut off. Dwayne Taylor says.
okay, I think I'm back. I lost you for a minute.
Yeah, you cut you off, but we're gonna ask the spirit of the ancestors to rise up. They ain't gonna have no more interruptions up in here.
Okay.
WUNAM and NICKY is in this place. We ain't having no more. Ancestors protect this fee, because this information has to be heard. Toimu.
Dua usibat parata pupamaat. So what we have to understand is, how do we know, how can Ptah say there's 9 days in a week? If you do your due diligence through his story, which I can relate to his story now. So for those that need academia to find balance or to codify what I'm saying, I'm going to show you through due diligence, through the theological process of thinking, because all theologians and all people in academia know this story, okay? Because we know that they took time away from us. If you was to Google AUC, AUC means Ab, A-B, U means Urbe, U-R-B-E, and C means Cortita, C-O-R-D-I-T-A. If you Google that, Ab, Urbe, Cortita, and it means upon the founding of the city of Rome. AUC 754 BCE, and this is where you begin to find your way back to our story. Because I don't like talking about his story, because his story, all that he did was he fragmented, he corrupted, he plagiarized our information, then he regurgitated it back to us in an unholy manner and called it history, when it really is your story. Right. Okay, so I'm just here to help you remember. I am not a teacher. I am an awakener. I'm here to help you remember your divine birthright. Okay, and how we do this, we understand that first calendar reform is 754 BCE or AUC, which is Eratosthenes and Aristarchus. You put these two names in, you're going to find what you're looking for. Second calendar reform is in 322 BCE, which is Ptolemy the First, Ptolemy the Third, and Ptolemy the Fifth. And these are known as the Decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3. All you have to do is Google Decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3. And you would see that there was a calendar, 3 calendar reforms. Now, the fifth calendar reform is 46 BC, which is the Julian calendar. Julius Caesar, he rose up on Sosigenes, who's the vizier of Cleopatra. He says, I'm Julius Caesar. He says, Io vine, io vede, io vici, which means in Latin, I came, I saw, I conquered. He says, put me on the map. So we went from 9 days to 8. We went from 10 months to 11. Julius gets assassinated in the Senate. Then came Tiberius. Then came Augusta. Augusta rose up on Sosigenes. He says, I'm Caesar. Put me on the map. So we went from 8 days to 7. We went from 11 months to 12. We know this is true because the Latin root word for 10, or it's Latin for 10, is uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. So if diez means 10, why is December our 12th month? If nove is nueve, it means 9, why is nove our 11th month? If octo is the Latin root word for 8, why is it our 10th month when an octagram has 8 sides or an octopus has 8 tentacles? So if October is our 10th month, means 8, why is our 10th month? It's because of 2 historical figures named Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar, who are July and August. Okay? Just to break it down in simple layman's terms so we can get to understand how this calendar became a soup of all types of toxic formulas to destroy our cultural spirituality. Now, let's talk about the days of the week. Day number 1 is the day of the sun. It's called Sunday, which is still African because the first day is the day of Ra. Day number 2 is the day of the moon, which is Monday, which is still Africa. But now you get to Tui, Tuesday. Tuesday is the Roman goddess of vegetation. And in Spanish, Tuesday means Mates, so it was on the planetary system of Mars. Then we go to Wednesday. Wednesday means Wednesday is Woden. Woden is Odin, which is, now we go to Norway, to the Norwegians, to the Vikings, which is Wednesday. And Wednesday in Spanish is Mercules, and Mercules becomes Mercury. Then you have, Odin has a son named Thor. Thor is Thursday. And Thursday in Latin, in Spanish, is Jueves, is Jupiter. Then we go back to Rome with Friday, which is Frigga. Frigga is the Roman goddess of conjunctional merriment. You know, the orgies, the fornication. They got the guy that goes behind him with the fruit, with the grapes on his head, named Bacchus. Frigga in Spanish means Venus, which is Venus. And of course, Saturday is Saturn. So that's how they mixed up the whole names of the days of the week. I reconstructed the names primarily from the tomb of Semnumet, where I found the first 4 names, which is Ast, Mesta, Hapi, Tuamutep, and Quebsanuf, which are 5. So what I did was I looked at it in the eyes of our most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors, or early hominins, the first humans, the Huta, the Twa, the Bantu from South Africa. And they seen the sun as the most powerful force. So the first day became the day of the sun. And as you get closer to the earth, we have the moon. So the next day became the day of Jehuti, which is the moon, which is day number 2. Now from the sun to the moon, now we're on the earth. So the third day has to be named after the earth, which is Seb, which is in the calendar. When you open my calendar up, at the top of each, you'll see each of the 9 days of the week. Okay? And so you have Ra's day, Jehuti's day, and Seb's day, which is the earth. Now you're on the earth. And you look to the left and you look to the right, and what do you see? You see Mother Nature. You see Ast. So Ast becomes day number 4. Now you're within on the earth with Ast, and now you must coordinate yourself to the cardinal points or to the celestial alignments. So we have the 4 children of Heru, which are Mesta, Hapi, Tuamutep, and Quebsanuf, which becomes the 4 pillars or the 4 elements or the 4 cardinal points. And of course, the last day, the 9th day, is Heru. That's how I named the 9 days. I went into our most earliest ancient African cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality, belief system, which is based upon the concept of the doctrines of Ma'at and the concept of self-creation. Let me reiterate. It's based upon the doctrines of Ma'at and the concept of self-creation, which no one talks about today because this is our story. So anytime we do not talk about the concept of self-creation, we're talking history. But when we talk about the concept of self-creation, we're talking our story. So now, why is this star Sirius so important? Because the Earth has three motions. The three motions of the Earth are, it rotates on its axis. And then that daily cycle is either 24 hours and 35 minutes, which is the original cycle in a day, a daily cycle, but that year is 360 days, or it's 24 hours, in which each year is 365 and a quarter days. Our year today is 365 and a quarter days, so we have 24 hours in every day. So the first movement of the Earth is to rotate on its axis. The second movement, it revolves around the sun, which is the yearly. That's how we know what year it is, or the aging process, or how long it takes a year to come about as it goes through the seasons. Then we know that the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees from vertical north. This means we're moving through the phenomenon of precession, or the precession of equinox, which takes 26,000 years for our sun to go through each and every sign of the zodiac, which is 2,161 years for each sign or each great age. 2 times 12 is 24, and 100 is 25, and so many odd years. It comes out to 26,000 years. Okay. Now, why is this? Now, why is this so important? Is because I don't want to send you into the 3 dimensions of time, because then I have to take your subatomic. I don't want to take you that real quick, because I want everybody to get their oxygen mask before we go there. I want to keep everybody grounded here. Let us find balance in Ma'at here on a terrestrial plane within the atomic domain. Okay. So now, what's so important about these 3 motions is that the Great Pyramid is our geodite, or our point of origin. Geodite is just another Latin word. It means a point of origin, okay? And it's at the center of the landmass of the planet. It's located 30 longitude and 30 latitude, which is the center of the Earth, okay? Today, we're under Stonehenge, England, which is 52 parallels north of the equator, which is what we're under. When you have a watch on your arm, you're on GMT and UTC, which is Greenwich Mean Time and Universal Time Coordinated. So you're under Hellenistic time. You've been Hellenized and you've been lobotomized. You've been forced into mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery, because you are now injured humanity. We all suffer from some form of PTSS, which is post-traumatic slave syndrome. Whether we recognize it or not, whether we've been diagnosed or treated or not, some form or another, we're all suffering from PTSS, okay? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Okay, so now what's so important about this lunar cycle calendar, and why we never catch it? I mean, how can you wake up every day being the smartest person, melanated person on the planet, yet you fall for the same trick every morning? Every morning you get up, you look at your watch, you're on GMT, you're stuck in Stonehenge. Then you look at the calendar, now you're on Gregorian time. And what happens with this is why they have to reform the calendar every 130 years. One unearned day is added to the calendar. So that might not seem much to you, or to your descendant, your child, or to your descendant, but after 500 years, on the spring equinox, the sun drifts. So after 800 years, if you don't plant the crops at the correct time at the spring equinox, the crops aren't going to grow. So they're so busy gorging on our African land and our people and our sweat of our blood, and to enslaving us and to conditioning us, and they're getting rich upon us, that their descendants forgot about the one that every 130 years, 100 days is added. So now there came a time when the crops didn't grow, and everybody started to starve, but they had, a bumper crop, or they had to go to another land to get to help the kingdom survive or whatever. Then they figured it out. They had to reform the calendar. That's calendar reform number 2 with the Ptolemies. Ptolemy 1, 3, and 5, which is the decree of Canopus 1, 2, and 3. The decree of Canopus number 3 is the one that has the Rosetta Stone on it, to give you more clarification so you can find it in your research, okay? All right, so now, the reason why they keep reforming it, now after the Julian reform, now came 325 AD, which is called the Council of Nicaea. When Emperor Constantine wanted to know, because of the whole empire was was upheaval, and then it came under Christianity, and they wanted to know, was Jesus the Father, the Son, or the Holy Ghost, or was he all three, or who was he? We all know he never even existed, okay? Because that's all,
Right.
we all know that Jesus never even existed. Right? There is a Christ, but there was no Jesus, okay? Because if you Google
Right.
Ptolemy the Eighth, all you have to do is Google Ptolemy the Eighth, Soter Christius, and it shows that the bishops of Christ existed 125 BCE, and Jesus was supposed to exist, was born in 0 on a Gregorian chronological timeline. We're using a historical Gregorian chronological timeline now, okay? But what we're going to use is we're going to go and we're using a naturological star timeline. We're using the phenomenon of precession, the 26,000 year cycle, when we start to talk about our story. Because our story, we could trace it back from your birth mother all the way back to our maternal mother, which is Asar, which spans over tens of millions of years, is our story. And I'm going to prove this to you as we go along. But first, let me just lay a foundation for us. Am I speaking too fast, Queen Mother Goddess? Because sometimes I
Yeah, a little bit, but you good.
Okay, good. So the whole, what you have to remember is this calendar reform. They have to keep reforming the calendar because they stole our spirituality when they took time from us. So the question now, since we're moving along at a nice pace, what is time? And in primordial temple discipline and our story through the doctrines of Ma'at, we know that time is the movement or measurement of the light through the void of deep, dark, cold space from one point or distance to another. Its speed is 186,000 miles per second. Light is the absence of darkness, and darkness is the absence of light. Light is the giver of Ankh, life, to all things on the terrestrial plane within the atomic domain. Life is the consciousness and awareness of being. Life is the generic expression of the light, and it's only found exclusively in 3 forms: solids, liquids, and gases, matter, the elements, the neterus, the gods and goddesses. However, light is not the Zep Tepi. Zep means first, Tepi means time, it means first time. Light, the light, Ra, the sun, is not the origins of existence and the creation and development of the universe. The light, which is a hydrogen atom, which is atomic energy, has a mirrored reflection, which is subatomic, and which is called radiation. So when we teach, now we talk our story now. We're going into our story. So when we go into our story, we have to be able to fluctuate our minds with our sacred science, our divine math, and with our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality, using astrology and astronomy with absolute accountability and star validation. This is the only way Ma'at can work, and we can be balanced with our spirituality and have proper frequency. It's all about a first frequency, and this is what I'm trying to lay a foundation for, and at the same time develop into our story. Let us talk about our story. Let's leave his story alone, because once we get into his story.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, my brother.
Sure,
I'm going to
Queen
ask
Mother
you a
Goddess.
question now. Tell me something. I heard you explain time, but do you notice, or has anybody on here noticed, that it seems as if time has sped up? Like it's super fast now. Like it was just last Friday, yesterday. You know what I mean? So can you explain to the people, because you are the timekeeper? I know, ancients talk to me. So why is it that it feels that time sped up?
It's because it's a vibration, it's a frequency, it's in Medunetta. So anytime you need to ask a question to yourself, you always have to go back to your cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality, which is founded in the Medunetta. The Medunettas will explain everything to you. So the word for time in Medunetta is Tep. Tep means time, like Zep Tepi, first time. But if you spell it backwards, it's Pet. Pet means the sky. Doesn't mean heaven. Heaven is a European concept. We don't use the word heaven. We use the celestial firmament. It's like the word. So answering your question is that you're on a frequency that is a first frequency. So you're moving at a different. You're moving at light speed. It's called per Ankh. Per Ra. You're moving at light speed right now, and so this is why if you're monitoring the stars at the same time that you're moving, then you will be in complete frequency with this this vibration that your voyage or your quest or your journey is moving upon. So the whole thing is knowing Cyrus. This is what this conversation is all about. We have to come back to Cyrus again. Okay? So now with Cyrus is that Cyrus is our binary star. Okay, our Earth, our sun and Cyrus does a dance. It's our binary star. And every 1,461 years, it comes closest together. And 1,461 years is furthest apart. And it does a dance. And you'll see this symbol is displayed and denoted in the zodiac sign of Pisces. Pisces, you see, is two fishes, but it's really two half circles together. That half circle represents the binary movement of the star Suptit or Cyrus and our sun Ra. And this is how we know that we have made one complete orbit around the 26,000 year cycle. So we are fortunate enough, and the vibrations and the frequencies and the movement that you're seeing is so intense is because we're living in two great golden ages. We just left the great golden age of Pisces, which we transferred into Aquarius, which is Ma'at Hapi Asar, in the year 2012. We know this because the Mayan long count says that the planet was going to end in 2012, but it didn't mean it was going to end. It just meant to end the one cycle and the beginning of another. The Dogon says the same thing.
Right.
And to prove this even further with ponderable matter is that on the Gregorian calendar, on March 21st, on the spring equinox, if you got up in the morning an hour before the sun rose, and you looked 23.5 degrees from horizontal, and the sky was clear, whatever constellation is in the sky is where we're located on the galactic elliptic plane of our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy, which means that where we are moving through our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. So if everybody knows what a black hole looks like or a galaxy, and if you look at it from NASA, from space, if you look down from an aerial view, it looks like a hurricane spinning, right? Have you ever seen a black hole or galaxy? But if you look at it from a side view, it's nothing but a line with a glow at the top and a glow at the bottom. That's the black hole. Our sun moves up that line 15 degrees. It comes down hits the line, goes down 15 degrees, hits the line up, comes up 15 degrees. This is how we're moving through the 26,000 year cycle of the phenomenon of precession or the precession of equinox. Okay? And our ancestors were able to record this with a global civilization, which acknowledged this through our ancient architectural megalithic monuments all over the planet. Each one of these monuments are still orientated to the constellation of Orion in the south with Cyrus, so that they have to know how long it takes for a year to occur. And then they know because if you use the star shafts of the Merkuru or the Great Pyramid or the Giza Plateau, the southern star shaft and the northern star shaft points to the circumpolar stars, which are the never setting stars, which are Polaris, Vega, Devon, and Draco. Okay, this is called Tawawurt, or the never setting stars, and this is how we know where we're located on the phenomenon of precession or through the movement through the each and every sign of the zodiac. And then the southern star shaft points to the constellation of Orion and the star Suptit, so that we know the yearly, how long it takes for the Earth to make one orbit around the sun, which is called a year, or the aging process, or through the seasons. Okay? So now, this is how we begin to relate to it on a scientific level. Now, we have to combine this to our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality, or we're just another Greeks and Romans. Okay? And how this works is with the star septet, because the original calendar of our ancestors, there's only 360 days in a year. The whole equation is a mathematical equation which the Kemetic people cannot seem. It keeps going over. It's like me shooting cannons over their bow. They just don't get it. I don't know why they don't get it. I don't know why they're not getting this. It's a mathematical
But
equation. It's
can I ask you real quick? I hate this. I don't want to stop your
no.
flow, but I got to stop your flow because Spirit is showing
Yeah.
me something.
Yeah.
Does this have something to do? The mathematical equation has something to do. I keep seeing something to do with the height of the pyramids, like 140,000 or 44,000. Spirit is showing me something here. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely. It's giving you pi. It's giving you the dimensions. It's giving you the weight of the earth, the circumference of the earth, the distance to the earth, to the sun, the distance to the moon. It's giving you from the earth all the way to the origins of existence, the creation of the universe, to where you'll find Ner. N-R in Medunetta is the mouth with the water sign. It's called Ner, which means energy. And if you turn it upside down, you put the mouth on top and the water sign on the bottom, you got Ren. And Ren means name. And this is when you begin to put it all together, because it has to be able to feel, you have to feel a spark within you in order for it to be Ma'atian. You have to feel that twitch behind the back of your cranium to know that pineal gland is activating. And you can start feeling that goosebumps running down your back. Then you know them chakras are starting to ignite. This is a frequency. And you're feeling this frequency. Now it's time to apply this frequency mathematically and scientifically, and with your cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality, belief system, because we have no religion. Our people never had a religion. We have a cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality based upon the doctrines of Ma'at and the concept of self-creation. But yes, so now go back to the Medunetta. It's like the word, like the star septet indicates the helical rising. And in Medunetta, the helical rising is called the Ren Pet. Ren Pet means the New Year's, okay? But how can Ren Pet mean New Year's in Medunetta if Ren means name and Pet means sky? It doesn't make sense. But if you take Ren and turn it around, now you got Ner. And then you take Pet and you turn it around and you got Tep, which is time. Now it's starting to make some type of formation within Ma'at, because now you're applying the concept of self-creation. You're utilizing our story now. You're applying our story. And once you apply our story, it makes sense now, because Ren is name, and Tep, Ren means name, and Ner is energy. And we know that the creator, in order for him to release himself from this primeval ocean of nothingness, we're going to go cosmic real quick just to explain this, okay, Queen Mother? Because it's all based on it's all within the Ankh, okay? The Ankh explains each and every aspect of what I'm about to explain to you now. The creator is Ner. Ner is energy. This is called the Zep Tepi. The Zep Tepi means the first time, but it doesn't really mean the first time, because time is based upon light and atomic energy. We're talking before time, before the light. So we're talking subatomic. So now we're saying the creator had his name is Ren. And when you spin it upside down, it's Ner. So his name became energy, which is power. So that name, when he pronounced his name, his Ner and his Ren, it became the first wave, the first sound, the first perturbation, the first vibration, the first frequency, which resonates. And this is where the beginning of the creation and development of the universe going into a scientific level. Now we have to explain these field forces, because we know there are 4 field forces, right? There's electromagnetism, weak force, strong force, and gravity, okay? And our creator, which all the Egyptologists know, the concept of self-creation, even if you look on, his name is Nebuchadnezzar. And if you look on the stela of Jehuti-Mes, or Thutmose IV, which is a dream stela in front of Hedukuti, or they call the Sphinx, there's a stela in front of him. And on the second register down, reading from right to left, you'll see a man with a stick, and behind it, you'll see the word Neber Tesha. So Jehuti the fourth, even so they knew of this name. Even the Ptolemaics, even Ptolemy the first speaks of Neber Tesha. Even in the Ptolemaic days when we lost control of Kemet, they still knew who our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality belief system was based upon. But anyways, Ra Neber Teshera, before he became Ra Neber Teshera, he had to acquire 4 attributes of manifestation. And the first attribute is Temu. Temu means in Medunetta to think. Temu means thought. Temu means to plan. It's equated to mentalism, so we equate that to electromagnetism. Then he spoke his name as a word of power, and he opened up a door. And this door became Ptah. Ptah is the door. In Medunetta, Ptah means the opener. Ptah means he or she who opens. And when the energy opened, he came out of the primeval ocean of nothingness, and the Ptah became the strong field force. Now, he said, so he says that this is in the pyramid text of Unas, Deja, Teta, and Naneb, and Deb. You'll find these written in Medunetta for those who want to do the proper due diligence and research and understand proper Medunetta. So most people go do Medunetta through Bulge or Birches or Bremstead or Reisner or Gardner Signless, which I did. I studied all of them when I was in my 20s, okay, 40 years ago. Okay, I studied that myself because that's academia. You have to learn academia first anyway. You have to learn your academia. But our great divine teacher, eldest teacher, his name is Dr. Professor Leonard Jeffries. He has a pyramid analysis system. He says that we go in to look for the analysis of the paralysis and end up getting captured by the paralysis of the analysis. Okay? So this is it's a very heavy concept, and I've always paid my most due respect to our great Seba, Dr. Professor Leonard Jeffries. He's located on the Shock Metaphysics Virtual Comedic Wisdom Schools, but that's another story. And so understanding how to relate to our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality through the Zep Tepe, understanding time, how we got from atomic energy, and that atomic energy is a mirrored reflection of subatomic energy, because we know that when the sun, which is the light, which is cosmic atomic radiance, shines upon anything upon this planet that is matter. Matter is anything that has mass, weight, occupied space, solid, liquids, and gases. It will cast a shadow. Okay? If the sun shines on anything, it's going to cast a shadow. Ask yourself, what is that shadow? Nobody can explain what the shadow is. What is that shadow? It's a sun beating. It's a shadow. But the shadow, so if the sun is atomic energy, it's revealing to you that this is subatomic. So now you're able to comprehend and to understand that which was once incomprehensible or veiled and concealed is now understandable, because now you're applying your cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, and you're able to see using esoterical manifestations of thought through your spirituality. You're able to comprehend that which your ancestors see every day. Long as you look beyond the door of European understanding, you have to search within yourself in the concept of self-creation. You can see this. So now we know that the light has a mirrored reflection, which is radiation. Radiation is this egg-shaped anomaly that they found in the center of the universe. Our ancestors knew of this egg-shaped anomaly that's in the center of the universe. Our ancestors knew of this egg-shaped anomaly tens of millions of years ago, and NASA found it in 1989. It's called CBR, Cosmic Background Radiation. All you got to do is Google COBE, which is COBE, Cosmic Observatory Background Explorer. It's the cousin of the Hubble telescope. And somebody said, well, why don't we turn it to the deepest part of space, at the deepest, darkest part of the void of space? And they took a picture in there, and they found this egg-shaped anomaly, an egg in the center of the universe. And because of its red and blue heat signature, they know it to be the molecular appearance from the source of all creation. Okay? So they found the source of subatomic space. But our ancestors knew of this arc shape, this egg shaped anomaly 10 million years ago. How could we know this? Okay? And this is what we have to understand, that this ankh doesn't just mean a female and the phallus and of this sort. You have to understand that this ankh represents everything. If you understood the ankh scientifically, mathematically, with your cultural cosmic collective consciousness spirituality, with absolute accountability and style validation, you'll be able to identify the four field forces: electromagnetism, weak force, strong force, and gravity, as science dictates. Now we know in our cultural spirituality in the pyramid text that Ra Neferteshra took four attributes of manifestation, which are Temu, to think; Ptah is the door; Amen means the primary one; and Medunetta, Amen means the hidden one, or he or she who is hidden. But Amen means gravity, because the create, and then the next form is Kepra, which is the beetle. The beetle has the sun disk on its head, and this sun disk represents atomic energy. So this represents the weak force, which represents the expanding universe. Because Kepra, the beetle, in Medunetta means the evolver of evolutions, or he or she who evolves out of nothingness. So I keep mentioning the he and the she because our creator was androgynous. The masculine and the feminine energy was there in the beginning and it was be there at the end. So we explain this scientifically in the temple as, you know, I'm going cosmic now, Queen Mother Goddess. So
No,
I know me and you are on the same frequency. I just
no,
hoping you'll get.
I'm seeing it in my mind, so I'm seeing it all.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I know you are. I'm just hoping I'm hoping that the frequencies that's not. I don't want to drown nobody in the cosmic ocean too fast. But so so we know that the creator first he says first, I mean not he. When I say he being masculine, I mean he, she. Okay, I just want to let you know. When I do say he, I do mean she also. But I'm just so conditioned with PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome, to keep saying. But I
Yeah.
pay all tribute to the Queen Mother Goddess, the feminine energy, in everything I do. For we came from the Queen Mother's womb, and we shall return to the cosmic, invisible, and biblical cord, which is that Milky Way galaxy. That's the Queen Mother's and biblical, invisible and biblical cord, cosmic and biblical cord, which connects us to that Milky Way galaxy, in which we become reborn as stars again, and we expand with the universe. This is all part of the immortality, which you'll find in every tomb room all over anywhere that I answer, which I reconstructed the mortuary temple of Espalta at the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists, 300 Walnut Ave in Roxbury, where I will be performing the Red Pet there on July 25th at 1 o'clock in Boston, Mass, in Roxbury at 300 Walnut Ave at the Museum of the National Center of Afro-American Artists at the Royal Burial Chamber of Nesubiti Espalta. Just to bring that up right now, because there's only 22 days remaining. This is why it's so much high frequency within the stratosphere, the atmosphere, the ionosphere, all through us. It's just resonating. Like you were saying when we spoke the other day about these ley lines, these telluric forces, this what is it called again? It's called conductivity discontinuity is what the scientists call it. They call it telluric forces. And this is this energy that these Europeans are trying to tap into now. See, they know it's there, but now they're trying to distort our timeline. So they're trying to say that the pyramids are only 4,000 years old because it's trying to relate to his story. But we know that through using the naturological stuff. I just want to bring you out of the cosmic and bring us back here real quick so I can just bring some balance before I bring us back up again, Queen Mother. But we know that through the naturological star timeline, that we tell time through the ages. Like we know we just came out of the great golden age of Pisces. We go back 2,100 years. We end up with the birth of Jesus, so-called Jesus, on the Gregorian chronological timeline. Now we go back another 2,000 years is the great golden age of Amen, which is Aries. And we know that we know that in the temple of Luxor or Karnak, there are an avenue of sphinxes. And these avenue of sphinxes are orientated to the spring equinox when the constellation of Aries came into the constellation, when it came into that avenue of sphinxes, and the sun, when the sun came into the constellation of Amen, which is Aries in Greek, that's when the Netta Amen Ra became the supreme deity. Okay? So if I ask a Kemetic person today who they believe in, they don't even know who they believe in. The closest they can get to is Amen Ra. And all Amen Ra is a time, it's a star date. So we go back 2,160 more years, and we can relate to the Shabaka stone. And the Shabaka stone is a papyrus text that was found in the temple of Menepha, which is, Menepha means the temple of the white wall, it was the temple of Ptah. And it's orientated to the spring equinox of the constellation of the bull in Greek, which is Ptah. That's why Ptah was the supreme deity. So in the Shabaka stone, everybody thinks that Atum was the supreme. Atum is not even on the Shabaka stone. That's why I don't understand how people can read and write Medunetta and see the word, the T, the loaf, that God sign that says is a loaf with the sledge, with the teardrop means Temple. Atum would have to have the A, which is a fig leaf, then the T with the M. In order for it to say Atum, you would have to have an A. So there's no A in the word Temple. So Atum, like I was saying to you, Atum means when the sun is setting. When the sun set means that Ra is complete. He's made his traverse through the celestial cycle of the day. And so he becomes he who complete. So Atum is not on the Shabaka stone. So, but why is Ptah the supreme being when we know Ptah is the second attribute of manifestation? Because Temu means to think. Temu has to be first because Ptah is turbulence. He's the strong force which opens the door. The reason is because it was that temple was erected in the great golden age of Ptah. So when we see these things, we have to understand the star dates. Our ancestors wrote and revealed everything in a star code. It's a star date and a color code and in frequencies. Okay, this is how our ancestors reveal things to us in frequencies and star dates and in a color code. This is why the Greeks and Romans could not. So what they couldn't master it, they just enslaved us at that time during that opening of the portals with Uncle Set, and they took time away from us. So we were supposed to be gain time back, but since we don't know how to tell time, they're not going to give us the planet back. I wouldn't give it back to you either. You don't know how to tell time? You don't need the planet. So this is why we have to learn how to tell time. But anyways, let's go back again. 2,000 for Pisces, 2,000 for Aries, 2,000 for Taurus. Now we go 2,000 for Gemini, 2,000 for Cancer, which is Kepra. All the Greeks did was turn the crab into a beetle. I mean the beetle into a crab. Now we go to Leo, which is Herukuti. And we know that the Herukuti or the Sphinx is orientated to the spring equinox, to the constellation of Leo. So right there, we went back 12,000 years. But we know that through paleoclimatology, that 12,000 years ago was an ice age. So the Sphinx or Herukuti couldn't have been built 12,000 years ago because the polar caps were melting and the water, the precipitation was in our day up to his neck. So we have to go back around 26,000 years, plus add the 12,000 we just did. That's 38,000 years just off the rip, being nice. And I'm saying to you that the Sphinx is over 250,000 years old. It because of the erosion around it. They know that it's older than 250,000 years old. And I can prove this. Go ahead, Queen Mother.
What Spirit showed me, what the ancients showed me, is that you're 150% right? Sphinx is way older than what they said. But what they showed me is that the Sphinx and the Giza pyramids, they were underwater at one time.
Absolutely.
And they rose out of the water.
Absolutely. Because this is called the extinction. We've been through 7 to 12 extinctions already. What happens is, as the earth rotates and we revolve around the sun is moving through the phenomenon of precession. And as we complete the 26,000-year cycle like we doing today, right now, we lived in two great ages. We just moved into the great golden age of Aquarius. Magnetic north is shifting, okay? And when magnetic north shifts, the earth goes like this. The earth goes boom. The earth, boom. It does a boom. And when it does a boom, this is when the great inundation or the flood happens. And it's happening right now. You look around you. You see that every volcano is active or has already erupted. You see that the tsunamis are no longer tsunamis, they're mega tsunamis. There's no longer hurricanes, there's super hurricanes, category 5, 6, 7, 8, speeds up to 500 miles an hour, right? Tornadoes, everything has been magnified because this is what the Netherus are reclaiming the planet. And they're waiting for us, the Nagas. Naga means the immortal one. Naga means the universal monarchs. We are the Nagas. The Nagas are the children of Heru, who were born from Asar and As, who were born from Sebenu, who were born from Shu and Tefnu, who was born from the direct issue of Radha. But all of this has to come into fruition or sequence together. And this is what's happening now. It's the gathering of first frequency family, which I call the immortal ones of Ma'at. And what we have to do is understand our precious treasure, which is immortality. This is what it's all about. Immortality is our story. This is what they stole from us, our immortality. And to bring this together with that whole cycle and that whole thing again, with the cultural spirituality aspect of it, is that on the Renpet, when the star and the sun rises together, on the Giza Plateau or on the Nilotic Meridian. Everybody understands the Nilotic Meridian is the 30th parallel or the 30th ley line or dragon line or cobra line, which runs from the Mediterranean through the Giza Plateau down to Ethiopia, to Ptah, to the megalithic spherical architectural diagram calendar in Ptah, Ethiopia, down to Medaway, Napata, Kerma, and Medaway, in Nuri, and then down to Napa Playa, and straight down to South Africa to Adam's calendar. Okay, that's the 30th parallel, which is called the Nilotic Meridian. And on the Nilotic Meridian, when we get to South Africa, there's a spherical calendar they call it Adam's calendar. You can Google it, Adam's calendar. And in Adam's calendar, they have three megalithic stones. And then there's a stone next to it they call the horror stone because it's got a face of a hawk. So here, now when they run the Orion's belt back to the computer and they run it back till it falls upon the top of the stones, it goes back 250,000 years. And that's just using that simulation. Now, this means that if Horus is visible in front of this calendar 250,000 years ago, this means that our cultural cosmic collective consciousness spirituality, or being a Shemsu Heru, born from the children of Heru, was in full effect 250,000 years ago. And if my oppressor or my colonial tells me it was 250,000 years ago, I'm going to double it right off the rip. If he tells me 250, I'm jumping to 1,000,000 right off the rip because I know he's lying already. Okay, but I'm saying now. So now, let's put the pieces together. Right? Let's put the pieces together. The helical rising, the star, the helical rising, a sidereal year means that the star subtet rises above the horizon, it traverses the elliptic plane and returns to its original position in respect to the fixed stars. If you Google it, that's what it's going to tell you a sidereal year is. That happens, it takes 8,766 hours for this to transpire, okay? From that mathematical equation, we got 10 months, 4 weeks, 9 days, and 360 days in a year, okay? Now, that's the original calendar of mankind, but there's only 24 hours and 35 minutes in every day. So now, these 35 minutes is split between, the extra 35 minutes in a day is split between the duat and the tuat, which means dawn and dusk, or sunrise and sunset. because our ancestors acknowledge every movement or visualization of light that transpired in the day. But in this calendar, there's only 360 days in a year. And this means that there's only 6 forms of life on the planet. This is a solar calendar. There's only 6 forms of life: plant, insects, reptiles, water creatures, birds that fly, and animals. Man and woman don't exist yet. Okay? So Nut, the sky, and Seb, the earth. The only thing that separates the sky from the earth generically is the light. When the light comes up, when the sun comes up, there's the sky. But when the sun sets, the sky's not there no more. There's stars. Where did the sky go? Then in the morning, the sky's there again. Then in the night, so the sky keeps falling on the ground, embracing Seb. And so they're mating, but they're not producing no kids because the allotment of time has already been allotted for. Enter calendar number 2. Now you can find this proof or this information you can find in a vignette or a depiction when you see Nut the sky with Seb the earth, and there's always somebody separating them. You ever see that picture? There's always somebody separating the two. That means that's a calendar. That's a star date or a calendar telling you that this calendar is a solar calendar, because the children can't be born because somebody separates. It's either Shu or Kemu that's usually separating them. Now you see pictures where there's nobody separating Seb from Nut. Enter calendar number 2, which is called the Jehushan calendar, because Seb wanted to have Seb and Nut wanted to have children, but Ra said to Jehuti, it can't be done because time has already been allotted for. Enter Jehuti, who is he is the nurture of the sacred science, sacred knowledge, and the sacred mathematics with him and Seshat. So Jehuti found a way with the 35 minutes. And he deduced that if he got control of the 35 minutes, he can multiply it 360 times, and he comes up with 5 extra days. These are the days called, in academia, it's called the Apagamor days. Google the Apagamor days, which are the days that the earth netters were born. There are 5. The names are Heru, Asar, Sut, Ast, and Nebhet. These are the 5 children that were born. So on July 25th, on July 20th, on the Gregorian calendar, we made 360-day cycle. On the 20th day is when we apply our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality. Or we're just another, as Dr. John Henry Clark would say, we're just another well-dressed thug, another Roman and a Greek. Okay? We have to apply this to our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality in order to make this resonate with our whole culture and our people, so that it will last another 26,000 years for the next, because it's going to happen again. That's why they have prophecy. That's why they know this is good. Things have happened, because it's already happened before. It keeps happening. Everything's it's just a recycling. Okay? So now, on the 20th day, we celebrate the birthday of Heru on July 20th. On the Gregorian calendar. I'm just using the Gregorian calendar as a simulation because I'm trying to get you to transition from his story to our story, okay? In order to do that, I have to bring you through a transition. And I hate to bring it to this Gregorian, use this Gregorian calendar as our geodite, because sometimes, as Professor Leonard Jeffries would say, you get captured by the paralysis of the analysis, you become Hellenized and lobotomized. I don't want to lobotomize anybody, but I'm going to bring you through this. So on the 20th day, we celebrate the birthday of Heru. The next day, we celebrate the birthday of Asar, who is Asar Neferkentiamenti, who is our paternal father. Then we celebrate the birthday of Sut. Now, I bring a candle for him, and I recognize him, but I don't hang out with Uncle Set. I don't eat his food, but he's my uncle. He's in the family. But in the beginning, he used to be on the boat of a million years, the back of the Majet boat, in the front, Harpoon and Pepe. So at one time, he was Ra's #1 man. But then he turned into this other guy. So depends upon which one. But I'm not messing with Uncle Set, but I will recognize his day, okay? And the next day, we recognize the great mother goddess, our paternal mother, Ast. And on the next day, which is the 24th, we celebrate the birthday of Debhet. Okay? And on the next morning is the sun rise, the star, first the constellation of Orion rises, then you'll see the star Septet or Sirius, and then 15 minutes later, you'll see the dawning, and then you'll see the sun and the star together. And when you see the sun and the star together, it's called the helical rising. And it means that our earth has made one revolution of the sun. And this is how we apply our science with our math and with our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality by using our Ipeteru, which is a solar, sidereal, lunar calendar. So every Black African person or melanated person on this planet needs to have one of these calendars on their wall. Take down that Gregorian calendar from your wall, or you will always remain a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave. So now, to put this all, to bring all this together, Queen Mother Goddess. So we have to understand. So now that's 3 calendars in one. Okay. So now we know that Ast and Asar gave birth to Heru, and Heru and Heteru gave birth to the Shemsu Herus. I am a Shemsu Heru, meaning I am born from the line of Heru, from the tribes of either Mesta, Hapi, Tuamutep, or Quepsutep. He had 4 children. So we're either from one of these tribes. But you can also be from the other family, who are called the Shemsu Sets, who came from Nebhet and Set, who gave birth to Ampu, and who always were in conflict. And if you wasn't studying Kemetic history or ancient Egyptian history, and you go into the pre-dynastic, and you'll see the cartouches, not a cartouche, it's called a shenu. It's an oval with they wrote the royal names in. But before that, they wrote their names in these oblong boxes. They're called shereks. Before the shenus, or what the Greeks call cartouches, they have shereks. And on the shereks, you always see a Horus figure with the king's name or the queen's name inside. But sometimes you'll see a picture of Uncle Set up there with the king's name inside. So this is to tell you that he's either Shemsu Heru or Shemsu Set. I'm here to let you know that I am a Shemsu Heru. I am from the children of Heru. Okay? And Heru and the children of Heru were born from Heru and Heteru. And Heru was born from Asad Ast. And Asad Ast was born from the earth, the Seb, and the sky Nut. And the sky Nut and earth Seb was born from Shu and Tefnut, which means gas and moisture. Now we're talking matter, who was born from the direct issue of Ra Nebuchadnezzar. Okay? So now, boom. So that's just now I would like to break into the Medunetta text that proves this doctrine that's written in Medunetta, or we can go into the scientific breakdown of it, or I can follow your lead, Queen Mother Goddess, whichever way you want to go from here, because I'm just having fun being on your show.
Okay, so pretty much it's very important that our people get that calendar, right? Very important.
Absolutely.
But you know what I want the people to know too is, you know, explain to them a little bit more about the Egyptian New Year. And we talked the other day. Now I told you that these ancient and these cosmic beings told me to create the Sirius D, right? So
Yes.
how does that tie in with the messages that I'm getting and that I've been getting for years? Because see, I don't stop. Let me just explain something to the listening audience. Every message that I've gotten about anything Kemetic has come straight from the ancient ancestors. Not because I studied under a temple, not because, you know, I've studied under one of the master teachers, because they gave me the messages. And I knew from the time I was a young girl, 6 and 5 years old, that I was an ancient one. Okay? And that's another story. They even taught me when I did my music. I had my ancient shrine set up years ago. They were telling me to sing the words backwards, and it was the same language that you're speaking now, which is the Metunecha. All of this came from spirit, not from nobody who taught me. Now, with saying that, about a month and a half ago, I'm sitting here, I'm hearing the ancients talking to me, and I'm hearing the cosmic beings, right? They say, we want you to create a product called Sirius D. I said, Sirius D? I said, why? Okay, Sirius D. They want you to move cats, right? This is what they told me, move cats. which is the food of the gods. This is what they're talking to me, telling me, right? And they're saying, we want you to make sure that they have this product during the time of the rising of Cyrus. And there's only going to be a few that take this product. But what's even deeper about it, they told me to infuse frequency. They told me to infuse energy. They told me to infuse spirit into this product. So I followed directions because they never stirred me wrong yet over the years. Okay. And they told me that I was to perform an event to rise up the ancient ancestors in this place called Atlanta, because at one time this place Atlanta was connected to that place in Cairo. I'm only following directions.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I'm feeling your vibration, your frequency, and what I'm feeling from it is that within the elements of this Cyrus D product that you have has an oil or an ointment which will create a fragrance which will be a healing or will be it'll be a multiple have multiple aspects to it, but it will regenerate the first frequencies through healing and vibrations and frequencies to attain so that others may have access to this first frequency during this time of the rising, which you've already explained eloquently before I even said that. So I'll just reiterate what you just said.
Testimonies we got is phenomenal, but you know what it is everybody who knows what Ormus is, but it's a white pot of gold. But they found them in the temples. They found them in the temples back then, and they used to call it the food for the gods, the stone, the food for the gods, right? So they would feed them, and it was a conductor for the bodies of the ancient ones. So they told me how to construct it in a different way, though. It was like, do this, do this, do this, do this, and I did what they told me to do. And
well, I can't wait to get my sample. I can't wait to have my sample. I can't wait to have my sample because listen, I want to be as most in tune as I can, and I can't. And if it's coming from the Queen Mother and from the feminine energy, I definitely want to have mine.
Oh, we're going to send you yours. Yeah. Okay. But they're telling me that there's only a few that could take it. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to be on that first frequency. Right.
It's just like I used to be on a show, which I'm not able to say anymore because I'm not on the show because of my name's been slurred. I've been character assassinated, and I've been banished out from the Kemetic Society. I've lost my seat on the Shark Metaphysics Virtual Kemetic Wisdom School, so I'm not supposed to say certain things during that thing. But absolutely, and it's called what me and Siba Kaba Kamini would say, and Nzinga Dalila and the Terry Nelson, we would speak of the 3 out of 100. It's called the 3 out of 100. Okay, so if there's 8 billion people on the planet, if we can reach 250 million, which is a quarter of a billion, then we can realistically go down to 250,000 to be realistically. So I would be a country bumpkin and just think that I'm going to get 250 million people. But realistically, if we can save and to bring the frequency to 250,000 of us Nagas or melanated people of the first frequency, so that when this environmental relapse occurs, because we know that the Earth is tilted on its axis 23.5 degrees from magnetic north, and we know the magnetic north is shifting, and we know that the Earth, because of the retrograde of different planets and so on and so forth, that the Earth is going to make that tug. It's going to tug. The reason why it's going to tug scientifically is because as the sun goes around a 26,000 year cycle, it passes again through the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and it enters into what they call, you can Google it, it's called the cosmic rift, R-I-F-T, the cosmic rift. Please Google it. They have YouTubes all about it, that the sun travels through this bubble. It's a space bubble, a gaseous bubble, which it goes through as it's moving through the great constellation of Aquarius. And if the sun's dragging 9 planets with us, because we have a solar system. And when it pulls through this, so when it goes through this through this bubble with the southern 9 planets, viscous matter is pulled off the surface of the sun, which they call CMEs or coronal mass ejections. CME, coronal mass ejections, or solar flares. And some of these solar flares are Earth directed. And when they become Earth directed, this is what helps and assists between the bubble and the gaseous bubble that of a vacuum that we are traveling through as we re-entering into this next cycle through the 26,000 year cycle. This gaseous, viscous, this bubble creates viscous matter off the sun, which creates solar flares, CMEs, which are Earth directed. And so that you can see that these Earth directed CMEs create these earthquakes, these flash floods, these tsunamis, and so on and so forth. And so everything has its purpose and its plan.
Let me just say this.
Yes.
Coronal mass injections of CME, so people will know. But I want to know what Dwayne Taylor says. Go back and research the information. Do what real scholars do. Dwayne, are you talking to the people? Because see, I'm a believer like this. I'm very spiritual. I'm highly spiritual. I know that I was an ancient one, right? I don't need nobody to tell me nothing because they come to me personally. So we're saying that you got to realize everybody is not going to get the information from a book. The information that I got, like I said, I didn't study within nobody's temple. They
Frequency to frequency.
To give the information. And I'm going to tell you how deep it is.
A lot of times you get confirmation from people that study
Kemetic science. So just like I told them, I said that city of ancient Kemet used to be a stone city at one time. They showed me that them pyramids were built using high-tech lasers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Then a couple of months later, they go down into the temple and find high-tech lasers. So see, for many, many years, I knew from a child that I was an ancient one. And see, a lot of times we depend too much on scholarship and books and information from the other sources. That's why we don't know the information that we need to know. Now you got messages like my elder who's telling you and who's the timekeeper, this is the way it goes. They want to say this, they want to say that, it don't matter because he's a messenger, right? You got me right here who's talking to these beings, and y'all know me from my readings, right? Y'all know I communicate with the beings on Venus. I communicate with the beings on Saturn. I come from Saturn, right? Not because a man told me so, because they alerted me of who I was. So we're saying that everything is not going to be given to you by man. If you take the time to go outside and look up to the cosmos and ground yourself with that water and that earth, then you will get the information that you need. It's in your DNA already.
Right. These are the cosmos. Right.
You cannot keep going back and say, well, if you got like a real scholar, what's a real scholar? A real scholar can't tell me what I know, that Sphinx right there is the overseer of the earth. No man told me that. The Sphinx told me that. Okay? So I'm going to be clear that. Don't get offended, but I want you to know that there's other means of knowing information, which is in your DNA. Okay?
Which is coming directly.
They gave me, they downloaded in my DNA to tell everybody else.
And that's where we must pay tribute to the feminine forces, the feminine energy. So I would like to first say that I've come full circle right now with the Queen Mother, the great Queen Mother, NICKY Love, here on the WUNAM Spiritual Society, the House of NICKY Love. And I like to say that you might not remember, but I started my first orientation on the radio show was on the NICKY Love show 10 years ago. And I started my broadcasting career through you. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention that I started. I've come full circle right now back to the Queen Mother, who gave me my birth on orientating and facilitating information and disseminating information. And the brother that who gave that question, his name is Jehuti. He has a radio station on the West Coast called the Real OGs, and he was first part of the Nile Valley Scholars. And I got my second show on his platform. His name is Dwayne Taylor. His name is Jehuti. He has the Jehuti Learning Center where he gives free books to everybody of color. He has a vast library. And I got my second show. My second show was that I did a series of shows with him. So I wanted. So that was Dwayne Taylor. His name is Jehuti, who said that he's part of the Now Valley Scholars.
Came on, brother, he was giving you when you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but when you came on, he was giving you your props. He said you were a real. You were.
He said you, but see, I already know that. Nobody can tell. You know who is the oracle of this land right here. Who's the oracle of this land right here? You see,
The
and I'm not
Queen Mother Goddess.
to do what I do, but I know what I know,
Yes.
what I know, and I know that they have given me messages to give my people for years.
Yes.
For years.
Absolutely.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now hold
And
on.
it's all coming back.
Hold on, real quick, brother. Henry Rain. Since you're in here, you have taken the Sirius D, and I want to thank the brother for the information. Moscow. He said the reason they said to name it Sirius D was because Sirius is the original.
Because D
is the equals original. Okay, thank you for that information. See, that was information that was given to me. Spirit, that spirit. Now, Candy Rain, let everybody know what this product has done for you, because you have actually taken it, and we've had so many more. Just if you could tell everybody in the chat room real quick, and then I want to talk about the importance of us.
When you talk about getting this calendar,
right? Getting it. We want to get the calendars to the people. Y'all get the calendars. Put that in the chat for somebody. Put your PayPal in the chat for me, Baba. Put it in the chat.
Disconnecting right now. Queen Mother Goddess. But I sent you the link already. You should be able to, I don't want to touch my phone because I might get disconnected, but I will put it in there afterwards if I can. But you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
No, we're gonna put it in the chat right now because people need, for those who've been watching, because you got your audience that came on. I'm meeting new people, but then I have my set of people. My people, I want y'all to understand, y'all need to get the calendar, because those of you, a lot of you have ordered Sirius D. We send out 50 packages within 2 weeks, real talk, okay? Now, that we want to have a calendar because we're having an event August 3rd. Now, as our brother said, Bob, I'm gonna call you Baba for now, okay? As Baba said, Ptah said that it starts on July 25th. So that's when it starts. So I want you to explain that real quick and then talk about the new year on August 3rd so we'll know where to go from there.
Okay, yes. So the Earth makes its complete revolution in 360 days, okay, which ends on the Gregorian calendar on July the 19th. So on July the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th, we celebrate the birthday of the Earth Netchers, who were born from Seb and Newt, okay? And this is on the 30th parallel, 30 longitude, 30 latitude, the Merkur, the Great Pyramid, at 5:03 in the morning is when we first see the helical rising occur through ponderable matter, meaning you could go outside and see it yourself. I'm only here to help you remember, okay? And you can see this yourself. Now, on August the 3rd, on the East Coast, northern southern hemisphere, meaning from Greenland all the way down to South America, is visible through the naked eye on August the 3rd. On the East Coast, that's why most Kemetic people celebrate it on August the 3rd, because it's visible in New York City. Okay, on the East Coast, northern southern hemisphere, is August the 3rd. It's visible to the naked eye. And on August the 9th, on the West Coast, northern southern hemisphere, is visible to the naked eye. Now, I just received information from a graphic designer of mine named Hedu Kuti, who is a phenom in mathematical, astronomical observation and calculations. He says now that the Earth has tilted 1/4 of another degree. And if this is true, that means that the helical rising will not occur in Giza on the 25th. It'll occur on August the 5th, and it won't occur on the East Coast until August the 15th, and then it won't occur on the West Coast until August 23rd, if he's correct. But I'm going with the original astronomical alignment. But Hedu Kuti, and he's on Facebook, Hedu Kuti has his astronomical alignments, which he is my graphic designer for the calendar. He's done work for me for years and years and years. He has new astronomical data, which I have not. So I'm on my way to Kemet this year to perform my own field work, to view the star myself on this day, and then so that I can perform my, find validation to my astronomical calculations, so that I can make sure that I'm walking with my art and talking with my art, and that I can prove these things and have it filmed and documented. Okay, but the mathematical equation states that on 30 longitude, 30 latitude, on July 25th at 5:03 in the morning is the helical rising. Now, a true helical rising means the sun and the star rises together, but this only happens every 1,461 years. Okay, is a true helical rising, which is the picture. Which is the picture. If you see the picture that's on my new calendar, if you look at the picture, you'll see the pyramid and you'll see the sun and the star rising together. That's a true helical rising, but it won't rise like that today. We will see the star rise first, and then about 15 minutes later, you'll see the sun come, you'll see the dawning, and then the sun will come up. And then you'll see the star and the sun, and then you won't see the star no more because the sun's up and the sky is coming up. The sky, the firmament is coming up, so it'll be day. Okay? So what happens is that for 70 days, the star disappears in the west for 70 days. And during the 70 days is when our ancestors perform certain rituals and coronations and festivals, Sebhet festivals, so on and so forth. There's so many things that happen between this 70-day period of through the Duat or Amenti. And when it rises, it's like Asar resurrecting himself. And it's during this time that we begin to re-establish or reconnect the dismembered body parts of our paternal father, Asar Nefakenti Amenti, and restoring our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality by using time, which was stolen from us, and understanding how it applies scientifically and mathematically. Then we can understand the reason that you cannot understand who, what, where, why you are without knowing the origins of your existence. So it all stems from our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, which is part of that first frequency that the Queen Mother is talking about, and this vibration. And now, but we still have to apply this scientifically with the sacred science and the divine mathematics. So before let me bring this to fruition with the star subject and with the 360 days and the 5 children that are born. So it says in the Medunetta text, it says, the creator says in Medunetta, he says, I am, it says, Anuk, I am. I am he, she, who existed in the primeval ocean of nothingness, eons and eons of evolutions ago, before the beginnings of time. When I thought that the moment had come, I fashioned my mouth and I uttered my name as a word of power. With this power that was my birthright, I fashioned myself in forms from out of the primeval ocean of nothingness. I was alone at this time. There were none others with me at this moment. I am the beginnings of time, which began when I took form and commanded the power. Now it came to pass that I found no place upon which I could stand. So I straightway brought forth from my own mind and thoughts the primeval mound from out of the primeval ocean of nothingness. Being that I was alone at this time, it pleased me to make others. So I went from being Necha 1 to Necha 3. I made these beings in the manner in which all things are made. I, Ra Nebuchadnezzar Ra, the he, the she, the mother and father of all existence, I embrace my shadow and I grasp my member and I love myself. I issue forth the Necha Shu and I multiplied his forms millions and millions of times. I gathered a portion of the remains and I swallowed them and I spat forth Tefnut. They are my heart and soul, twins born of the same birth. And when you find the one, you find the three. For the three is of the one and the one is of the three. Shu and Tefnut had union, and from this union came forth 7 Nut. And in similar manner, I multiplied their forms millions and millions of times. 7 Nut had union, and from this union was born the earth Netcherus. Their names are Heruer, Asar, Sut, As, and Nedhet. Asar and As had union and gave birth to Heru. Heru and Heru gave birth to the Shemsu Herus. And when all this was done, and all manifestation of things that came into being, I fashioned each and every constellation, black hole, star, planet, asteroid, and thing of being where they're now found. And together, the movements give meanings to my works. And the movement is no drain on my powers. It is I, Ra Never Teshurah, who issued forth the order of existence. And this is written in the pyramid text in Medunetta, and it's deciphered many times. But this is a primordial temple discipline interpretation from the Tesha Parah, not from Bulge, not from Birches, not from Bremstead, not from no historian. This comes from our cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, consciousness, which applies scientifically. So in my book, The Cosmic Egg, aka The Primeval Germ, which is not my book, my brother the priest wrote the book. I do translations, illustrations, and reliterations of the Medunetta text in the book. So when I say my book, I only contribute into developing the book. I did not write the book. I do the translations of the Medunetta, the illustrations, the pictures, and so on are my works and my contributions to the book. But in the book, we describe, now we just explained this with our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality through the Medunetta and how it's written in the pyramid text in the primordial times. Now we have to define and explain this scientifically. So we have what we call the RSGUT, which is the Rosarian Star Grand Unification Theorem. We have a grand unification theorem that's called the Rosarian Star Grand Unification Theorem, because nobody has a GUT. Nobody can explain gravity, not even Dr. Gabriel Yebo's Gij, comma J equals 0, which is a phenomenon mathematical equation, which is brilliant. He's a genius, but he does not explain gravity. That's why he did not receive the Nobel Peace Prize, because even they say it's a geodynamic description of the universe. But not to take away from the brother's a genius. But let me just introduce to you, which you can see in my book, which I'm gonna send you a PDF file copy, Queen Mother Goddess, Nikki Love, for yourself. And it goes as follows. So we know the full primordial energy. So it goes as follows. In the beginning, there is Nur, energy, and his name is oblivion. In the end, there is Nur, energy. Its name also is oblivion. Life is derived from power, and power is the result of energy. That is our theorem. E plus P equals L. E is energy, which is Nur, equals P, which is power, and Medunetta is Usa. E plus P equals L is Ankh, which is life. Okay, so that everybody understands the acronyms for our theorem. Okay, life is derived from power, and power is the result of energy. X electron, after releasing, discharging, freeing, or escaping from oblivion, became a source of power. But because this power was dissipating, form and shape was necessary for containment, and the feeling of weightlessness then must be overcome. By the controlled emissions of waves and rays of magnetic subatomic particles in all directions, expanding the void of deep dark cold spaces they traveled, these two basic needs were met. This is the origins of subatomic space. This is the story of the self-creation of Ra Never Teshurah. Energy that was lost and now being spent was in need of replacement. This created hunger and the need for replenishment. All the energy was now being dispersed outwardly, allowing form and shape within the newly formed egg, until it was forced to expand beyond itself. This created a great explosion that hurled shell bits of magnetic subatomic particles in all directions, expanding the void of deep dark cold space as they traveled, until finally reaching the pause of magnetic repulsion, where they could not go no further, and they experienced gravity, and they collapsed upon one another, producing these gamma orbs, which created another explosion. A ring of gamma now surrounds the primeval germ, the cosmic egg, which allows the recycling of energy inwards and the replenishing of itself. Some of this energy that was not absorbed inwards escaped outward beyond the gamma rings as bits of pure antimatter. Upon embracing interference and becoming sources of gravity, developed in a region we call the nursery of the stars as dark body radiation, black holes, or galaxies. These dark body radiations, black holes, or galaxies are pushed away from the inner verse and is the realization of the outer verse. These dark body radiations, black holes, and galaxies produce atomic energies, stars, light, planet, moons, and life forms until all the above mentioned energy once again into oblivion. These forces will adjust, propel, and expand the continuous perpetual evolutions of the expanding universe. That was just a little quick rough draft brush over on
Why don't we do this? Because I do have to wrap it up because I have readings to do on Friday and Saturday. I get busy, but let
I
everybody
know.
know where they can find you so you can teach them more because they need to know this information. So give them your website and your Facebook page so they can go befriend you because they need to know this. So there's
Yes,
so
my
much more I know
website
you have to teach.
Yes, my website is www.ptah, P-T-A-H, originals, originals.com. Ptah, www.ptahoriginals.com. Okay, that's my website. And you can find me on Facebook as Ptah Seeker Asar. That's P as in Peter, T as in Teddy, A as in always, H as in happy. Ptah Seeker, S-K-R, and Asar, A-S-A-R. Ptah Seeker Asar is where you find me on Facebook. And that's what I do every day. I teach and I try to help people to remember the divine birthright of immortality. And I nurture you right through, because every day, the secret to immortality is you have to go through the doors of Ma'at. And to get to the doors of Ma'at, you have to know the limit, which I should have introduced at the beginning of the broadcast, but after I did the Hesi, I just took off. But the 5 rules of the livet is eat only of the seed. If it doesn't have a seed, don't put it in your mouth. The only thing you put in your mouth that doesn't have a seed is water. Rule number 2, never eat and drink at the same time. Do not mix your solids with your liquids or you create an acidy brew, which you'll start the bloating effect. Rule number 3, eat as the table earth prepares the food, from the ground, from the vine, or from the tree. Rule number 4, never eat to your fill. Don't clutch yourself. Don't eat everything in the whole room. It's unma'atin of you. And, and rule number 5 is to fast occasionally for certain periods of the year during the solstices or equinox or the lunar cycles, the aphelion or the perihelion. You must refrain from eating to detox, to purify, to cleanse the body from all the contamination that you have put into the body. So the body must be purged of these things. And there are many, 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 many Queen Mother goddesses, like the Queen of Fora in New York. You have the Ra healing in Boston, Mass. And there are multitudes of Queen Mother goddesses who have healing institutions all over America. They're on Facebook. You can see them. You have to learn how to eat. Only leave that byproducts alone. Stop eating that person's food because you lower your frequency. This is what's contaminating your frequency from not receiving this information that the Queen Mother is trying to give to you, and that the cosmic forces that allow you love, guidance, and protection through the daily experience of ponderable matter are trying to give you. Okay? Because you're creating obstructions within your aura with that calendar. Take that Gregorian calendar down from your wall and stop eating that food. Eat only of the seed. And in saying that, my Queen Mother Goddess, I would like to thank you. And also, what I did this year is, because of the inauguration of my returning back to the Queen Mother Goddess, Nikki Love, I would like to dedicate the 2019-2020 edition of the Ipet Teru, Shabitem Twa Heru Pamaat. Ipet means to measure, Heru means day, which is our word for a calendar, or Shabitem Twa Heru Pamaat is another word for calendar. But it's called the Ancient Rasarian Kemetic Calendar. It's been dedicated to the WUNAM Spiritual Society House of Nikki Love. Yes, edition.
Thank you.
I had it. I almost had it, Queen Mother, but I stuttered. I caught it. I started choking, but I got it out.
You got it.
I got it out. The WUNAM Society, Spiritual Society House of Nikki Love edition is the name of the 2019-2020 Rasarian Kemetic Solar Civil Calendar in honor of my Queen Mother, who gave me my first start and who I came full circle with today. And I am blessed to be on your platform today, Queen Mother Goddess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, everybody, for those, I put the link to his PayPal in the chat room. You can get the link, copy the link, go over there, order your calendar. Okay. Especially those who took it. And I want to answer Jones, neighbor Jones. I don't get headaches at all. In the middle of my forehead has been pounding, Nikki Love. That's just cleaning your brain. What it does is it balances your right and left hemispheres of the brain. So what's happening is, neighbor, your brain is being cleaned up. Okay. So as far as headache go, just look forward to more enlightening, being more focused. You just begin. You ain't seen nothing yet. It's not a bad thing. Okay. Pretty much you probably had a lot of clouds up in your brain. Okay. But anyway, family, do go and get our brother's calendar. Okay. Especially if y'all dealing with the serious D, go get the calendar, because I need y'all to be good. I need y'all to have everything. By the time August 3rd comes, when we do the big event, you want to have that calendar in your hands. Okay. So do make sure you get it. I put it again in the chat room. The link is there. Also go befriend our elder. Okay. And do learn from him. Very good teacher. Okay. Very good teacher. So do take the time to learn this information, because y'all don't understand. We're in a very, very powerful energy right now, and we're going through huge transformation. And what Spirit showed me, and I'm going to share this with you all, he talked about shifting. I just said it the other day. Somebody asked me, I said, the earth is shifting. I said, the times are shifting. I said it on my feed. Let me tell you something. This is what Spirit showed me. When that actual sun is rising, aligned with these are pyramids, there's going to be some energy that's going to be phenomenal, that you're going to feel like you're going to be in the 10th goddamn dimension somewhere. Don't say that and tell yourself. You're going to feel like you're in another whole dimension. And as I told you all yesterday, we will see some chaos, but then you will see another side as well. We're going to see some chaos because it has to be. It has to go. But what Spirit showed me is that there's going to be an energy that's going to be emitted to this earth into the human beings, and we will know what dimension we're going to be on the other side. Okay? But on that note, family, we want to thank again our brother Ptah, Seeker Asar, for coming on, giving us great information. And you all do befriend him on Facebook, and do go get that calendar. And especially if you got Serious D, and get ready, because this is the time, our time, and we must all raise up our ancient ancestors. They told me that we have to do this. So we got to raise them. They said, we shall rise in the West. So we have to rise them, and we are the ancient ones. Y'all know that, did you? Anyway, family, we'll see y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Our brother, have a good evening, and thank you so much for educating us.
Dua, and I like to say before we terminate the broadcast that within the whole of the universe, nothing is ever added and nothing is ever lost, and that it is not over until we acquire the ability to experience the phenomenon of being. And in saying that, I say Atun Ra Hotep, Panata Pupama to you, my Queen Mother Goddess, Nikki Love. Atun Ra Hotep.
Ra Hotep.